is a very serious note. But we are live, coming to you live from North Flagler Beach, Florida. It, it was a bit of a, you know, it was a bit, just looking at some, no. Alright. Alright. I think we are by, I think so, September 25th was very important. However, up for adoption, I was fostered for my foster mother's name, but when I started out on this planet, I was a Nancy. And at this adoption agency, all boys were Jonathan's or Joseph's, I can't remember. All girls were Nancy or Mary's. I was a Nancy. And then a number. So isn't that kind of weird? But so that was interesting to find. I was Nancy something and a number. But interesting story, and I don't know if my mom would, I don't know if my birth mother would like or consider this good information to give to the public, but she was, her brother, my uncle, were bringing people to America. And this is back in the 80s, so we both came here April, or was it March? It was March. I can't remember what she said, but we came to the Americas in March of 1980, and then I was born August of 1980. And she didn't know that she was pregnant with me, but ended up having me anyways, so thank God for that. And then of course I was given up for adoption, where the adoption agency put me into a home, a foster home. And I don't remember the name of the lady, but again, my mom could give me more information. I'm just kind of giving you guys my bit of what I know so far. But anyways, so I was this close to being Mexican, or born in Mexico, but not really, so interesting. However, on my birth certificate, it had her name and another name. I think the name that was given was not her mom's name, it was my aunt's name. But they sent my mom, my adopted mom, the birth certificate and said, oh no, we made a mistake. We're supposed to black out the mother's name and the guardian's name, because my mother at the time was like 14 years old when she had me. So it's like kids having kids. So, interesting. But my mom wrote down all the information on the birth certificate and was like, well, someday this is going to be important stuff. Well, fast forward It did, because it's like this year, and it's interesting. So, yeah, I have a 5 year younger sister and two brothers. I think 2 or 3 brothers. Yeah, I have a sister and a brother, and 2 brothers. So I have a sister and a brother. I am the oldest, but apparently I'm also the shortest of the bunch, and most of my family are pretty tall. So, and I'm 5 foot too. So, but I think that comes into the fact that my mom was a child when she had me, and being, a child of migrant parents, we can get into the chemistry of, poor nutrition and diet and things of that nature, but just really whatever, Well, thank you. So, what was it like being adopted? Well, I didn't find out I was adopted until I was about 5 or 6 years old, when my mom and dad were like, I was just getting picked on by a bully, and I guess it was in kindergarten, and I remember this kid saying, well, you're ugly, you got a big fat nose, and you got China man's eyes. I was like, that hurt. And then we got into a scuffle, and I remember, crying and saying, Mommy, why did that kid say I look like I have Chinaman eyes and a big fat nose? And she's like, well, and I remember him saying that you look nothing like your parents and you're an alien. And I was like, well, he's kind of right. However, so my mom was like, well, you're not our kid. You're not our daughter. Well, by birth, but you are. So you're adopted. And I was like, well, what the hell does that mean? As a 5-year-old kid, 5 or 6-year-old kid. So she told me that I was adopted, but it didn't really it didn't really make any sense, so I ended up being told again at the age of 8 or 10 years old, and then it kind of really sunk in, and so they're like, okay, but it doesn't matter who gave birth to you, you're our daughter. And it made sense then, and it makes sense now, and I'm forever grateful for my family, and I'm glad that I'm a Gordon. I'm happy and proud that I'm a Gordon, and I'm happy and proud of my family that I have, that found me, or I found them in some sort of way, or whatever. My father was heavily into the military. My mother was a workaholic, and but she's just the most wonderful, resourceful, smart, funny, goofy, weird woman that I know. And she got me on not South Park, Saturday Night Live, and we would do our own skits, Saturday Night Live skits, and we're like, hey, we should write this down and, you know, send it to Lauren Michaels, because he would really like this stuff. I was like, yeah, I know, we should. That's where I get my goofiness. Even though I was tested for not bipolar, although I am, dyslexia at the age of 6 and 7. They found out that I was dyslexic, and then my father, I find out that my dad, my adopted dad, is dyslexic, and his son, my brother, my adopted brother, is also dyslexic. So when I asked my mom the other day, I was like, well, how did you live in a house with 3 dyslexics and you're the only one that that wasn't dyslexic? And so she's like, well, I did everybody's homework. And I remember days, well, nights, days before a project would have to be turned in, and my mom and I would be at the kitchen table, be like, with our hands in our heads, and like, our head in our hands, and like, we have to figure this shit out. Why do you always do this? I was never really good at school. Although I excelled in art, but I never really turned in my artwork, homework, and assignments to the art teacher ever on time or completed. I went to college for digital art, and that was just like, you have to know maths and numbers and length and depth, and I was just like, fuck that, I'm not doing that shit. So I dropped out of college, and good thing I already, well, my dad paid it off, but the school alone was like only $2,000 or $3,000 at the time, and that was like, I don't know, like after high school, so 2001. Oh no, 2001. Because in 2003 I ended up joining the army. So yeah. And then 2003 I ended up joining the army and swearing in April 13th, 2003, and became Private Gordon. I guess it's I don't know. Oh, I guess that's Arabic. I don't know. Is that Arabic? I guess it's Arabic. Well, anyway. Yeah. Okay. Stop. What was I gonna say? Alright. So so my whole life of 45 years, always thinking and wondering, who do I look like? Who are my people? What am I? Where do I come from? What's my background? And it's really weird how I ended up finding my mom, my birth mother, that is. And I did, the swab thing. Oh, sorry about that. Thanks for joining the channel. Anyway, thanks for doing whatever you're doing. Anyway, stop, I get so distracted. But I ended up finding the Ancestry Ancestry.com or whatever, doing the cotton swab thing, and then spitting in the tube thing, and then sending it off, and then them coming back, and they're like, guess what? You're 50 or 60% Native American, and then Hispanic, then Spanish, Italian, French, and then some of the other. But I guess we all come from Africa. I don't know why I did them in quotes, but Morocco's like 1% Moroccan, so I don't know. Anyway, so when I can't remember. I signed on to Ancestry.com and I saw this letter. It was like, oh, guess what? I know your mom. And she doesn't live in Salinas, California anymore, but she's in New Mexico. I was like, I saw Mexico. I was like, oh shit, maybe she got deported and she went back to Mexico or something. But it's nothing like that. She's here in the United States and lives in Mexico. And I have a sister and 2 brothers. So that's pretty cool. And I wanted to ask her like a bunch of questions, like, who's my father? Most importantly, who's my dad? And well, we haven't gotten to that part yet, but at some point it's gonna come up. Read my comment. Yeah, I read all your comments. Okay, let's see. Oh, dang. You are from which country? Oh, hey, sorry, they pop up, but then they like, I don't know how to, yeah, I don't know how to, anyway, I'm in, well, to answer your question, who was it? Who are you? Hi. You're gonna make me show my age.